Hey, good morning. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse myself. I even have my microphone here prepared. Hey. Good morning. This is the F&E podcast, and I'm your host, Akili Paige. You know, we start the day off with words of affirmation, daily motivation, and I got today's motivation at it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Do y'all know what that means? Well, I'm gonna try to give you my meaning of it. Meaning, seems like society don't want to try things because they think it's difficult, not because it's actually difficult. Um, 9 times out of 10, going out there and completing the task is 99% of the work. So the other 1% is thought of it being difficult that makes you not want to go complete that task. Now, the camera is giving me a little blur, so I'm gonna see if I can fix that a little bit, y'all. Okay, yeah, we good. We fixed that. There we go. So, welcome. It's nice to have you again on this Monday morning. It was a pretty eventful week. It was very eventful. A lot of things happened this week, good and bad. To the bad things will get better. To the good things, try to keep them as good as they can be. I also have another. Let me see what our words of okay. Our words of motivation today is. Oh man, we got to let's see what we got for our daily motivation today. Gave you some words of affirmation. So always remember that your present situation is not your final destination. The best is yet to come. I want to chime in on that, actually. I actually do want to chime in on that. Always remember that your present situation is not your final destination. The best is yet to come. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And just because right now the situation is not looking perfect, it's not looking good, doesn't mean 10 minutes from now, 15 minutes from now, 30 minutes from now. Typically, it doesn't happen that fast, but if you get my drift, meaning there is no rush on time. There is no rush on time. Just because your present situation is not the best situation, that does not mean it's meant for you to be that way. Now, growing up in my life, I have plenty of stories and experiences I could explain to you and tell you of just that. Um, for example, before I started school to become an accountant, I definitely wasn't where I wanted to be at in life. I didn't even know where I wanted to be at in life, actually. Um, it wasn't until my aunt showed me, well, she didn't even show me. I just seen the type of work that she did, and I became interested and just kind of dawned on me like, hey, I can do that too. So I kind of went and started school, and once I started school, I kind of knew that's where I wanted to be at. So whatever destination that this leads me into, which right now, which is podcasting, make sure you go check out www.apmaxtaxservice.com. Tax 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 preparation. Um, we also offer a lot more services other than tax preparation. We are now live on YouTube. We are now live on Twitch. We are not live on Instagram yet, but I will be sharing the lives to Instagram, and I will be sharing little veils to Instagram. So again, this is where accounting led me to. So again, your final destination is not your current destination. And I need you all to remember that when you going out there and you're going to work, when you're at work currently, the ones for the ones who currently at work. Um, so in order to understand financial freedom, and I kind of figured out this is the direction I was going to go yesterday when I was thinking about what am I going to talk about on my finance morning show. I really didn't have an idea, but like I said, you never know what your destination is going to be. So, um, waking up this morning as I got ready to take my daughter to school, I was just thinking, I said, you know what? Finance can be tricky. And a lot of people might not understand what finance is. So let's start with I told myself, I said, we're gonna start with understanding what finances is. And in order for me to understand what finance finance and financial freedom is, my first accounting teacher, and it's crazy because this is how I remember my very first accounting teacher. He told me that all lovers' eyes reveal expectation. And I didn't get that at first, but when he wrote the acronym on the board, um, I said, wow. So all lovers' eyes reveal expectation, which is true because I mean, typically when you love somebody or when you love something, you're looking at that thing or that somebody. You're like, hey, I expect so much from you because I love you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the gist of that. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to break it down for you. Is assets, liability, equity, revenue, and expenses. All lovers' eyes, like real expectation. That's what that is. So, in order to understand what financial freedom is, you have to understand what finances are. So, and I'm pretty sure that when I keep saying the word assets, you're looking at me like, okay, killer, I get it. I know what an asset is. It's something I own. It's something I own. That is true. It's something you own that creates and generates you revenue. So although you may have an asset, it's a such thing as a tangible asset, a non-tangible asset, a current asset, a non-current asset. These are all important things to know when you're buying things of such, because you can. This is how America wastes money. This is how America gain money. This is how people become wealthy. This is how people become poor, by understanding their finances and their assets and how much revenue their assets is gaining. So, um, when you start to look at your current situation, as we was talking about in our daily motivation, um, just look at the current assets that you're owning, the current assets that you're buying, the current assets that you see others owning. You know, not to say that you try to keep up with others, but it's just a comparison. Just not really a comparison. It's just I want to call it like a pedestal or a level that you can see where and how decent you are in life. And no, we don't really judge that off of how good somebody else is doing, but when you start to look at where other people are at in life and where you at in life, that's how you kind of can know um, what standard of living that you want to live to. So for me, when I heard the all lovers' eyes reveal expectations things, then I kind of thought to myself, I said, well, shoot, I really don't have any assets right now. The only assets that I have was being in school learning the information that was being taught. So from there on out, I just kind of thought about what did I want? or what type of value in life that I wanted. So I started my own business. I started MMP, mowing and pressure washing. You can go check that out on Facebook and contact email. We do landscaping and pressure washing. Um, Started off with a lawnmower. Bought myself a truck. When my uncle was living. That was my that was going to be my first employee. Well, really was my first employee. We actually did do what 2 or 3 yards. So, um, my first asset was a lawnmower. My first asset was a lawnmower, y'all. It was a lawnmower, and no, I didn't think that I was going to be rich off of pushing a lawnmower. No, I did not. But ultimately, it was a starting point to gaining revenue, and that's the biggest thing. So when you start looking at the assets that you're buying, start to think, can this asset gain me any revenue? Um, I'm a people's person. I love seeing self improvement. So people that's around me, I'ma constantly tell them to do things that I know that's possible that they think they can't do. And I know it probably get aggravating sometimes to the people around me, but I'm gonna keep doing it because financially we we will. Financially, we will. And that's for everybody that joins this podcast. That's for everybody that follows this podcast. We will. I promise. We will. Um, so my first asset was a lawnmower. Then I thought to myself, I said, no, this is not what I wanted to do. The labor was way too much. Um, and the turnaround wasn't good enough for me. So as I was in school, just kept thinking to myself, I said, well, I got this mowing and pressure washer business. Um, what's next? What's next? And I just kept asking myself, what's next? Like I knew that, you know, assets, liabilities, revenues, expenses, and equity. I knew that, but I couldn't get to the next level because I was stuck. I was happy that I actually started something. So um I graduated. I graduated in 2022, and the first thing that I thought was, well, how can I use this knowledge now? Even though I only had an associate's degree, I wanted to use the knowledge that I learned those 2 years now. And that was my second asset. My second asset was the knowledge that I learned from going to school. How can I make that knowledge a revenue? So, um, you know, taxation is just one part of accounting. So I went and I started AP Max Tax Service, which is currently the job or career field I'm in right now. And about in 2022, I started off very small. I mean, I had a couple of people, I mean, probably all of 15 clients. I would like to say probably about 15 to 20 clients. Um, I was still using my asset though for revenue. And I thought to myself, I said, wow, Kill, you no longer have to use your labor for revenue. So I'm no longer doing the hands-on work to generate revenue because of the knowledge I went and gained generates revenue alone. So with them 15 people, I thought to myself, I said, wow, 15 people believed in me and trust me enough to allow me to uh, prepare their taxes. So that first year, I was still in awe and shock, like, hey, um, yeah, this is nice, but I wanted more. And not more in the sense of greed, because I'm not greedy, so I didn't want more in the sense of like money. I wanted more in the sense of success. I wanted more assets to gain more revenue. So in 2022, I went back to college. I went to UNC Pembroke for accounting again. And this time, when I was in school, I was also, again, I opened the business AP Max Tax Service. Mind you, that is now two assets that I had gained. My first one was M&P mowing and pressure wash. My second one is AMP Max, AP Max Tax Service. Uh, my second one was AP Max Tax Service. So I went back to get my bachelor's. And as I was getting my bachelor's, um, the very next year, it went from me doing 10 to 15 people taxes to me doing 40 to 50 people taxes in 2023. Now, that's a way bigger jump from the number 15 to 40. That's about 25, good 25 people. So in my head I said, well, Kill, you are now this is the journey to financial freedom. You are no longer, or nobody is no longer looking over you for you to generate some money. You are now generating revenue. I'm gonna call it revenue. I'm not gonna call it money. More so on this podcast, you'll hear me say revenue more so than I say money. So, and that's just because of the vocabulary that I'm used to. But I will try to say more times I would try to say cash. So so we can build that bridge in between revenue and money. Because I don't like using the word money. It's very general, because revenue comes in more than just money. Revenue comes in um, check, bond, trust. So when I say money, I'm not really going to use that term a lot on this podcast. But I started generating myself revenue. Like, so um we're gonna go to the next year in 2024. We had a record breaking over 100 people file they and get their tax prepared through AP Max Tax Service. That's a blessing. I like to thank each and every one of my clients for coming in and entrusting us in filing and getting your tax needs done. Um, so if you just go along and you listen to the journey that I started with no assets at all. I started with no assets at all, y'all. This is a real life story, and I'm telling y'all, this is how you start to gain financial freedom, and it's by understanding finance. You have to first understand that assets, liability, revenues, assets, liabilities, equity, revenues, and expense is where you start at. So, and assets is your main, your main account, your main category, your main focus. I don't, I get the terminology right for y'all, so y'all can understand that a little bit more. But um, when you start your journey, and I don't know if you already started your journey. Most people is older. I don't know the viewers right now, their age brackets. People in my age group, your journey probably has been started. Is not too late to deter that journey and start on a more diligent pace. Um, So in in the comments, I want y'all to leave questions. I want y'all to leave questions. This is now being uploaded on YouTube and it's now being uploaded on Twitch as well. So I know y'all probably can go back and watch it. It's probably gonna be saved and stored. So if when y'all go back and y'all watch this, I want y'all to start leaving questions. I need y'all to start leaving questions because although I just covered a little bit of what assets are, I know people still might be like, okay, well, that's the way you gain the asset. How do you gain assets? Well, I can tell you how do you gain assets. You gain assets by doing the things that you are used to, that you believe, and that you know that can make you money. Ultimately, no, I did not think accountants made money. Like, well, I know they made money, but I didn't know how important their role was to society before watching my aunt do taxes in 2019. I never knew like that was the thing. Um, I was more so into the teacher thing, and teaching is an asset as well. And with shout out to all our teachers out there. Um, I had the decision to make of waking up, right, and continuing to wake up at 5:30 every morning to get ready to teach to. And I told myself, I said, "Nah, that's more so not me." And I wasn't gonna mess up. I would have became a liability rather than being an asset. So I told myself that's not really what I wanted to do. So I just left that. I left the teacher thing alone. But shout out to the teachers out there. Y'all are very strong, and I respect everything that y'all teach these kids because kids grow up and ultimately become me one day. So let's talk about liability. Liability. Now, in and let me take a step back real quick. Assets generates revenue. So again, I need everybody to remember that, write it down, take a picture, clip it. Assets generate revenue. So if you're looking for currency, gain you an asset, use the asset to start to generate you some revenue. Okay, that's. I need y'all to correlate assets and revenue together, bridge those two, tape them together, glue them together. Just know that those two are meant for each other, like a relationship. Assets and revenue, those are meant for each other. Now, on the other hand, we have liability. What are liabilities, you say? Well, I like talking about liability because everyone seems to be one, even myself. I'm my own liability, even to myself. You liability are something that you owe to a person or something that you owe to a place, uh, something that you owe. That's what a liability is. So you talk liability. Um, I am liable to come here every Monday morning to host a finance podcast. That's a liability because ultimately it does not generate. It's not meant to generate revenue. It's meant to generate knowledge and information amongst people. So here's another liability. Um, let's use a more in tune example. It's a liability that you're going to get in your car, and God forbid get into a motor vehicle accident. That's a liability. Um, Showing up late for work is a liability. I'm just kind of trying to get you to understand what owing things are borrowing is a liability. Um, Asking for a favor is a liability. Um, and I apologize for saying a lot to y'all. I'm gaining like this journey. You will see fluent speech will be as we go on. It's because I'm getting more confident in talking to y'all. I'm just getting more confident in y'all hearing my voice and things and such of that sort. But liabilities creates expense. That's what liabilities create expense. Okay. So I know that when you live and you go through life, having kids is a lot. Your kids will get hungry. You are they rely on you to feed them. They are your liability. That is your expense. That child that you had is your expense. I'm sorry about this. Uh, your kids is an expense. So, some people like to say, "Oh, my kids is never this, my kids is never that." And in reality, and the truth in hindsight is, you know, even yourself walking now is a liability. You will get hungry. You will get hurt. You will get sick. You will become reliant on something or somebody to where you will need or you will owe something to somebody. Now, granted, some people in the world have it to where they probably need very little and have very little liability, but even the richest man in the world has liability. So it's um I need you to correlate liabilities with expenses, meaning you will spend currency, you will spend revenue at the expense of a liability. Your car is a liability. You have to put gas inside your car for that car to move. There's no gas in that car. I'm pretty sure you know what happens when no gas is inside the car. So liability, liability. These are things that's pretty self-explanatory. I would like to y'all have to leave. Y'all promise y'all have to leave questions and comments inside of the chat so I know that y'all are understanding when y'all go back and view this. So going forth on to the next week, I know if I need to go back and touch bases over one thing or if I need to just keep on moving forward. So, uh, yeah, please let me know. Um, it's good to keep your liabilities to a minimum. Keeping your liabilities to a minimum is very good. Although that sounds easy, is very hard in doing that. No, it so this is where they say keeping up with the Joneses and um just trying to live the lifestyle that's fit for you. A lot of the times society thinks that it needs to keep up with a certain facade or fashion or celebrity or actor or reality star, whatever the case may be. But all in all, life is its own race. You run your own race. There is no speed for you to catch the next person. If it's meant for you, it will be. Um, And I say that because in trying to do that, you can create yourself way more liabilities than you're creating yourself revenue. Uh, Trial and error, cause and effect, and so it's very important that you pay close attention to detail when you are out here trying to live the lifestyle that you are trying to live. Now, people hire accountants to keep up with that lifestyle so they won't have to worry about their finances, period. Me as an accountant, the best advice that I could tell you is there is nobody better to watch your money than you. If you cannot trust yourself, or if you're not good with money and you know you're not good with money, and some people have to start being realistic with their stuff, knowing like, hey, I can get paid this week right here and I still won't have this amount of money on Friday. And you just got paid Wednesday. That's not being good with money. So then people look into hiring accountants because they know accountants. That's one of their tasks is handling money. Um, so I just went over assets, liability, revenues, and expense. I left one important one out, probably the most important one. And I did that because I wanted to talk about equity. Now, what is equity? Equity is the difference between assets and liabilities, typically called capital, meaning this is how much you own. This is your basis of life. This is your standards and means of life. Yeah, equity is basically how you your decision make, basically how you make decisions day to day off of the equity that you own personally. Um, Now people with low equity are the people that we see sometimes living under bridges, um, at homeless shelters, uh, living. And I say this in the most respectful way. Some of these people are living off of government assistance, and that's no shade because everybody needs assistance. So, but these is low equity people. Those are the people that you kind of try to help bring up because you can see that life is not doing them right. So, and that's really one of the reasons I became an accountant because I wanted to see everybody have an opportunity. A lot of people don't want to see people with opportunity. Where I come from, we didn't have a lot of opportunity. We had to create an opportunity. And I appreciate my village for showing me that, telling me that at a young age that education is key because key and king because without education and knowledge, your opportunities become very, 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 very slim. Um, so yeah, your equity. So medium equity people are average. People that sits in the average equity is your everyday people that you see when you go out to eat at restaurants, people that you see um just your normal everyday um middle class citizen. Um, you kind of think of yourself if you get to tune into this podcast. You kind of think of yourself as one of them average equity people because those people that has access to the internet, those are the people that can drive to a library or can drive to school. Um, people with high equity, we just want to Donald Trump, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, uh, Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs, but people of that sort, those are people with high equity. Again, equity is the difference between asset and liability. And that's actually our accounting equation, which is assets minus liabilities equal equity plus revenues and expenses. Excuse me. Um. So, and I'm gonna wrap this show up here, talking about just understanding finances and assets, liabilities, equity, revenues, and expenses. Remember, I told you the acronym for that is All Lovers Eyes with Real Expectations. Now we're not going to get out of here just yet. I'm just going to stop right there because that's actually covering a whole lot in very short detail. Because, like I told you, there's such thing as this. Just to give you a brief rundown, there's things prepaid asset, um, current asset, non-current asset, tangible, non-tangible, um, contra, just the thing as contra asset. So I want to stop right there so I could kind of get into the different kinds of assets, the different kinds of liabilities, the different kinds of revenues. There's only one kind of equity, and that is the difference between assets and liabilities, meaning how much you own, your capital. Now, I want to talk a little bit about promotion. I want to talk about where to find the podcast. I want to talk about those type of things because last week I had trouble um, getting out there to people, had trouble sharing my link to people, had trouble telling people where and how the podcast is 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 being distributed. So we are on Spotify. That's where I upload the podcast in my lives after they're done. They're on podcast at the FNE podcast on Spotify. So currently we're working on getting getting the podcast to stream live on every platform at the same time. And I need y'all help. I actually need 50 followers on no, I need 100 followers on Facebook. I need 100 followers on Facebook. And that account has to be active for 60 days. So for 60 days, we will not have a live on Facebook. On Instagram, I believe that you have to have a certain amount of followers. So again, on Instagram, if you can, go follow The Finance and Entertainment Podcast. That's spelled out all the way, The Finance and Entertainment Podcast on Instagram. TikTok, we will be live on TikTok the very next week, not the very next week, but next week we will be live on TikTok. We are now live on YouTube as is current. We are now live on Twitch as is current. We are now live on Riverside as now of current. that I touch bases with every platform. I touch bases with every platform. So Twitter, we only upload reels on Twitter. We upload the reels on Instagram. So if you don't catch the whole thing, you catch the short on Instagram or TikTok, Facebook as well. Also, another thing that I want to do, please, and this is very important too, please, can y'all please email me if y'all have any promotion, anything that y'all need promoted that is constructive. I will not entertain anything that's nonsense on my morning show, my finance morning shows. But I do want to promote local businesses. Not they don't even have to be local. They can be wherever you at. If you have a hobby that's constructive, I do want to promote that. So every Monday, and this is free. I'm not charging nobody nothing. So this is just how I want to use my platform. I do want to try to give back in different ways that I wish that people would have gave back to me. So anybody that tunes in, anybody that listens, anybody that views, anybody that hears about it, anybody that knows about it, anybody that knows that I host a podcast show, please email me at apmactaxservice@icloud.com with your business name, your business logo. We'll get it up on here. I'll post it up on here at the beginning of every finance morning show. And yeah, that's another thing I want to address because that's a route that I definitely want to take. If anybody needs financial assistance, please check us out at www.apmactaxservice.com. We have plenty of services, some bookkeeping, some consulting. Just if you need any assistance, any financial assistance, please do not hesitate to reach out. Again, this is the Finance and Entertainment Podcast. I thank you all for joining, and I will see you all next Monday.